My name is Muradi Olajubu, and I'll be your amiable moderator today. And thank you all for joining this evening. Um, we are currently going to be reviewing the second session, and that's lesson 6. That's the very first part of the second session. Past weeks, we've looked at the very first session, which is in the beginning, right? And one key takeaway for me is that Femi was self-aware. He knew what he wanted. He knew where he was going. He knew that he wasn't a book person. He knew that he has these entrepreneurial skills, and with the support of his dad, even though his mom was not so happy, with the support of his dad, he was able to work with him, understand the whole thing. It was like a mentor to him, let me just put it like that. So he was able to navigate the whole business world, and and he was also privileged. He made us understand that he was also very, very privileged, right? So those were the things that we learned in the first part. And in this second part, we are talking about growth and expansion. And this evening, we'll be looking at know your market. And we have a fantastic person that will be breaking it down for us today, right? He will be explaining what he has learned, so just giving us insights. And once we are done with that, we'll also share what each of us, anyone can just raise up their hand and we'll go like that. So I'll just invite them, Joan Shak, to take us through Know Your Market. All right, Shak, can you hear me? And are you ready for us? Hello, Shak, can you
Yes,
hear me? All
yes, I can.
right. All
Mhm.
right, so I'll just hand over to you right now. So you just do justice. I believe, I know you do justice for us, and we'll come back and get what we have. All right.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
So, um, I'm in business. Hello, business.
You want check? Your network is not good.
Wait, your network is breaking. No, it was clear before, but I can't hear you again.
Okay, let me just switch networks.
It's better. Ah, okay.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I am John Shack, and I will be reviewing um, lesson 6, Know Your Markets. So in this section, in this lesson, um, Femi hits really hard on the fact that having a deep understanding of your market itself is like the building block, the foundation for success in whatever business it is that you want to start. And I believe what I took home as the core um, lesson, right, of this particular section was the fact that he made it clear that business itself is not luck, right? It comes from you studying the markets, understanding the markets, positioning yourself in places in your markets the that will give you advantage over your um, competitors and basically your peers in the same business, right? So there were a good number of lessons that he went through, and for the first one, I would say he started with the fact that you have to start by knowing everything about whatever business it is you want to start. So before going into a business, you would not just jump the gun and then start executing what you think is going to work. You would have to start with um, learning what you need to know about the market, learning who you need to talk to, who you need to make your friend, who you need to have in your corner, basically, right? He also spoke about how a knowledge from something else, from some business or some other endeavor you're doing, can be transferred, right? So he explained how he used his um, exposure to construction and real estate to help him move into the diesel business, right? When he saw a supply gap that needed to be filled, right? So that now brings me to the second point, right? So while everyone knows that life is not easy right now, right? When he had a problem that made him to relocate his family into a hotel because he did not have diesel to put on his generator, he did not just sit down there to complain about who was supposed to supply him diesel, how his diesel did not get to him on time and all that. But he saw this as an opportunity for him, right? He saw this is a problem that he was dealing with at the point, and other people too were dealing with that, and it created an opportunity for a business to grow there because there was a high demand of diesel at the time, and then the supply was unreliable, right? So he had you basically had people that had the diesel, but they did not deliver when they should. Um, you would have a long line of waiting to get that diesel that may not be delivered. So he saw that problem and he took that experience and created an opportunity for himself out of it. He turned that into a business, right? And one other thing that he spoke about too was it's not enough that you want to start a business. Yes, you want to start a business, you want to make money, you've studied the market itself, right? But also, when you want to start the business, you have to position yourself, right, in a location that needs to be served, right? So let's say if uh, you want to start a let's say you want to start a supermarket, you would not just go to the middle of the bush somewhere and then build up a supermarket and be like, oh, my supermarket has the best this, my supermarket has the best that. But you have to position yourself in a place where there are people that actually need things from a supermarket and they are underserved, right? Which he puts into perspective when he was talking about his real estate business in the chapter where he he focused on premium locations, right, for maximum profit. So he focused on big locations in Port Harcourt, Abuja, and also Victoria Island and Ikoyi in Lagos, right? And he did not build houses there and go to target people that could not afford it basically. But after getting his location right, he positioned himself in a place where he would see high-end clients who would be able to pay for this property essentially and would like that quality of houses or offices for themselves, right? So that speaks to you. You have to first know your target markets. You have to position yourself in where your target market is, and you have to make sure that you're serving them intentionally, that you don't go to a high-end place and they're building a substandard house, right, that nobody would want. One thing he also spoke about was how he was able to get information and how having information gave him an edge, where he spoke about how even the most right the most unlikely person might be the person that will give you that will give you the information you need, right? He spoke about how he used to talk to his bankers. He used to talk to the um, the suppliers, and he also used to even talk to his drivers and studied. He also studied financial reports from based on an advice from his friend that was in GT Bank at the time, right? So having interacting with people essentially, right? It's something that would help you grow in your business. You don't just start a business and sit in one corner and wait for everything to come to you. You have to actively chase these information and make use of them quick enough, like he did when he bought the oil company, right? When the guy's dad died. So what he did was, when he heard about the cancer, right, he knew that the son itself, based on information he had gotten, he knew that the son himself was not interested in the oil business, right? And he now did his findings of how much the company itself, the how much the company complex itself was worth when it was built, the current market price, and then he gave an offer that basically the son could not refuse, right? And so he was able to get that and basically expanded his diesel business. Now, so um, speaking of looking for opportunities and keeping your ear to the ground when you're in business, right? It's you should also be able to, or you should also be open to opportunities in other sectors, right? When you are in business, right? You don't just sit down and say, oh, because maybe I am producing pure water today. Nothing concerns me with the textile market or the provision store business or with building a supermarket, right? So even if you have your business is doing well and you are able to spot an opportunity, right? You should keep your eyes out for opportunity. You should be able to diversify, put your hands in different pots, right? And use that to expand your business, your portfolio, like he did with buying ships to haul uh, petrols, to haul oil from the larger ships that could not get to ports. So he bought, I think, about 5 or 4 ships, right, that would now take the oil from the larger ships and then bring them down to ports. Now, while he was supplying diesel to people, so he also put himself in a position, right, where he could be hauling that diesel for the companies themselves and the suppliers themselves. So while he spoke about being informed, keeping your head down on the business that you are doing, you should also keep your ear out, pick out something from here, something from there that could become an extra stream of income for you, be it related to what it is that you are doing now as your business, or to a different thing, right? Entirely. So one thing he also spoke about, right, was you should study your markets, right? You should study your markets, understand the timing and your markets cycles, which would help you with your pricing basically, and when to maybe stockpile, right? Basically. So he spoke about how for his diesel business, right, he had high demand during festive periods due to people putting on their generators longer, or family and all that, and the celebration season, and also in dry season too, where he noticed that the power coming from the hydraulic power plants were not really serving Nigerians completely. So at that point, there was a high demand for diesel. And uh, when it gets to the rainy season, public power improved and the demand for diesel went down. So basically, what he hit on very intentionally um, in this chapter is the fact that you need to position yourself to get information. You need to understand the market. You need to understand your clients. You need to serve your clients at a way that they are comfortable with you. Like he said, at a point in his business, he had like 2 billion of advance payments for oil. So he was able to get into he was able to get the trust of the people he was supplying, because they knew that, oh, once I pay my money, I would get my diesel as when it's due, right? So I would rather just drop my money now to make sure that by the time it lands, I would be the first on the list or the second on the list. I would be high up the list, as opposed to waiting to say, oh, when you have it, call me, right? So if you can be able to, in your business, you should strive to make profits, but also to build the trust of your clients by, well, serving them well, and should I say, kind of like uh, meeting them at their convenience based on the information you have, and then based on the study that you have of the markets. And uh, while he spoke about meeting people, and should I say working with people, getting information from people, he also hits on using experts and following the data available, where he spoke about looking at the financial reports of his competitors that was readily available on Bloomberg and some sources that he mentioned. So you have to follow the data of your competitors too, to study essentially where the market is moving to see what what is the trend essentially in your business. You don't just sit down and say, oh, because today I can make 10 naira from my business. I do not care about my competitor making 100 naira from his business, right? And you should also pay for experts to kind of look at things for you, right? Like he spoke about the power plants that he bought and how it was from expert advice that he bought it, and well, it paid off for him. So um, while you're gathering information too, you should also gather data, right? And basically experience of your competitors, your friends, or even people around. And from that now you can make really smart decisions on um for your business, right? On the maybe on the way forward or the next steps for you or where to the next uh stream of income you would want to create for yourself. So um what's the kind of strategies that he highlighted in this chapter that worked for him, right? Uh, was that you need to constantly gather. One of it is that you need to constantly gather market intelligence, right? Uh, you need to keep studying the market always, consistently, constantly, every day. You take a look at the market, you take a look at what your competitors are doing and all that, and it would help you to guide your own business. The first one or the one he hit on um, early in the beginning, right, of the chapter, and also in the middle um, when he closed down um, Xenon but and well started Fort Oil was that um, before you move into something, you need to study. You need to study what it entails, right? You need to know, at least have the basic knowledge of whatever it is you want to do. Then you can get an expert like he did for Fort Oil to now um, boost the potential of your business. But you should at least, before you should not just go running into a business because you say, oh, now the real estate market is bubbling, and then you are like, oh, let me go and buy land here, let me just buy land there, let me just build house here, let me build house there. You should take your time to study the market itself before you put in your money into it. So another thing that is hit on is that you need to understand your customer behavior and how the demand for your products works, right? And right with that, once you have um, essentially pin down the behavior of your customers, you can get them to do more for you and to always come back like you did with the first come, first serve diesel business. So because they knew that once they pay, they will get their diesel as at when due. It's encourage them essentially to drop their monies with him ahead of time. So once you understand what each customer wants and how to follow up with them, you would make more progress in your business. And essentially, because customers are like the biggest marketing tool, you get referred uh, by your customers, and then you get to build a whole chain of customers that are loyal to your business. So, for the takeaways that he outlined at the end, right? He still hits on the fact that you need to study the basics, right? You don't just go jumping into anything. So, because if you do not understand your market. You do not understand how things move in that business. You do not understand how the trends go up and down. You do not understand how the customers would behave, right? You would essentially fail in the business because you might be you might not meet customers where they need you, and you might now make some moves that maybe were not needed, and you end up losing your money, or in the end, you end up crashing your business, right? They also spoke about how you can plan easier when you understand the language the business speaks, the metrics that guide
Hello,
profits,
Shaq.
and
Round off, please. Thank you.
okay, that's when you understand the language and metrics itself that guides the business that you are going into or you're starting. He also spoke about getting information would give you an advantage. That same information, the knowledge you get from that will save you time and money. And to keep going, to keep to maintain your relevance, you will need to have an awareness of the trends and timing, right? So yeah, those are basically the things that I took away from this chapter and what I understood by what he was saying in this um, chapter of the book.
All right. Thank you so much, Shaq, for summarizing Know Your Market for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So you said it all. Otedola was trying to basically he made us know that we need to be knowledgeable in whatever we are entering into, be it business, any kind of business we are going into. We need to actually understand how that business is being, how they run that particular business. And wherever you are, Nigerian markets might be different from China markets, might be different from wherever. So you need to understand those key things. What the industry, financial industry is different from power industry. So all those little things we need to basically understand before we really dive into that market. And that's one key thing that Otedola made us to understand. He understood the Nigerian power sector issue, and he made use of it. Based on that, he was able to grow his wealth, right? He built the diesel storage, the distribution, the fleet. He understood the business very, very well. He understood, like Shaq earlier said, he understood the festive period where the booming session, while during raining days, it was slow, right? I'll just summarize everything. Shaq also mentioned the part that he was able to adapt. He didn't complain. He knew they didn't have light for days. He had to move his family to the hotel. So they had to adapt. And based on that particular problem, he is the billionaire or the trillionaire who he is today. So he also mentioned, I guess the key thing, he had Shegun as his friend, and Shegun made him understand how to read the financial reports. So I guess that is one key thing I guess I will start doing, to read financial reports of public companies. So,
And that's so.
yes. So I charge everyone today that in any business you want to go into, you need to know the real rule of that game before you dive into it. So please, entrepreneurship, your regular day-to-day activities, whatever you find yourself to do, just understand the real rule of that game. And I'm sure we are all on our way to greatness. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Our social media platform is Instagram, Facebook. Please join us, like, comment our posts, engage us. If you want to review also, you can also meet with any of the admin team and we would gladly accept you. All right, thank you again. And I know that next week we'll move into another chapter, but we'll drop whatever we'll be doing next week on the group chat. So see you same time next week. Please invite your friends and family to join us to be a bigger community. And I know that we will keep reading every week. See you same time next week. Thank you for joining and have a blessed weekend. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Anu. And I'm interested in you start reading financial statement too. So we see you. Thank you.